Alright guys, today I'm going to show you how to make the trap that is most often shown in movies that shows an animal or a person being ripped up a tree in a net or in a noose around the leg. I'm going to make a small version of this trap and show you how it can be done with only about 5 feet of rope, which you could probably make out of 2 tennis shoelaces, tie them together. Yeah, it should be plenty for you, so if you're in a survival situation, you could probably figure that out. And my knife to cut some of these sticks that you need to find. I'll show you where these come into play as they go along. First of all, what you're going to need to do is find a nice young sapling, such as this here, and find out, this has a little top on it that regrettably you have to cut off to save mass and make sure that this thing will whip up nice and fast. You're going to have to find out where this stretches down to the ground, and I'm going to cut it off about right here. So where you're going to cut it off, you draw a line straight to the ground, right about in here. Mark that so I know where it's at. And that is where you're going to start your work. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do here is take 2 sticks that I've gathered previously. 2 sticks with about 6 to 8 inches of a straight part on them, and then like a hook at the end. And I got 2 of these here that'll do nicely. Take these, and what you do is you go along that line that you found earlier for where that branch is going to come down from your sapling. Hammer these into the ground like so, a little higher than that. Do that, 2 of them, both facing the same direction here, and hammer them down so that the hooks are at about the same level. You're going to eventually be taking another stick like this and running it through there, just like that. Okay, when you have these 2 in, and you have another straight stick to go underneath like so, take another short little stick, just a stake in the ground, and hammer it in, about that far from these front sticks here. This is soft ground, so I can just push it in here. Make sure that a flat side is facing your sticks right here. This goes straight out from that. Now's the point where you got to cut your tips off. So I'm going to cut it about right there. Okay, now I've cut the tip off of this little sapling here, and in order to tie the end of this rope onto here, I'm going to make a very particular knot. And that knot I'm going to put on both ends of this rope. Now the way it's done is to take the rope in 2 of your fingers, take the other end, and hold it in your other hand. Now, take your fingers, put it on top of the rope, twist it down and back through that hole, and what you'll end up with, if I can get the leaves out of here, what you'll end up with is a loop like this with this end through it, and now you run this around the outside of the leading end of the rope there and back through the hole, and then pull on this side of the rope and on this little piece sticking out right here, and it'll cinch up and make you a loop just like that. And this loop is not a slip knot, it won't go anywhere. Now you actually want to do that on both ends of the rope, and I'll just go ahead and do that to this other side, and I'll show you why later. Okay, now I got 2 loops. Now, to attach this to the branch, you take this loop and you pull this end of the rope through there. Now, that loop does make a slip knot, and that will go on your branch. Okay, now there's just a handful more steps. What you're going to do is take a short stick like this, about 3 inches long, and what you're going to do is you're going to tie it into this rope with just a little granny knot, which is just the typical knot See if I can balance the camera here to show you. It's just the knot that goes around and through the hole one time, like a little pretzel like that. You're going to tie this little 3-inch stick through a knot like that, just about a foot down from the tip of your branch, and this will make more sense as it comes together. I'll show you. Okay, you can see that. Here, let me take this off. I actually have the trap set right now. You can see that I have tied this little trigger stick, this small little 3-inch stick, onto this line coming down here. It's about a foot down. Now, how this is going to activate the trap is this comes down and you stick one end of the stick under here. This is the stick that's caught under these 2 hooks here, and you push it back. Like that. Now your last stick is going to be a stick like this. Now this stick goes between this that I got my finger on here and this little stake in the ground right there. Now that little stake is going to hold the other end of this trigger stick here, and I'll set it up and show you how that works. Okay, you can see this stick right here is tied onto this line. That line is attached to your branch there, and this stick right here is pushing up against this, keeping this branch from releasing. It makes like a hook shape around this stick here. Now this is wedged up against this stake in the ground, and when an animal bites at the bait, pardon the wind, when an animal bites the bait that you would have speared to this stick, or if it merely steps on it, it's going to knock this stick off of this, releasing it, and that will then put tension on this rope and pull this rope up the tree. Now, in order to make a loop in the end of this rope so it catches the animal's foot, you take your other little loop knot that you put on this side, and you grab the rope and pull it through this loop, making another loop, which is now a slip knot like that. And I've never done this with one hand before. Now, look at that. You got a loop set around this trigger stick. You want to put it on the inside of the stake or it'll get caught on there. And now, you can see the spring-loaded stick here. Now look at that. If that were a squirrel, it would have been ripped right up the tree. And actually I can't get my wrist out with the camera in my hand, so hang on. Okay, so I've reset the trap. Give you a good outside view of it. There's your, right there is your bow right there, your sapling that you bend down. Again, the line attached to this little mechanism right in there, which is pressing up against your trigger stick. Now, there are a few ways you can bait this trap. If you're going for a squirrel or something like that, best way is peanut butter. Actually, just smear it on there before you set it, or else you'll probably end up with your arm in it like I did. You know, if you're going for something a little bigger, and this is a bigger size trap, you can actually spear like a piece of meat or something on there, or sprinkle birdseed around it if you make it real sensitive for birds. Once again, I'll just give you another view of how this works with this stick I was using as a hammer earlier. Shove that right in there. There you go. If that were a squirrel, he would be in quite a mess.